How's it going, David from Comic Book Investments? So, we're going to look at 5 keys that are dropping in price, and quite a bit. 91% is the top one on this list. So, that's quite a bit. Before I do, if you want to win this isn't a giveaway. We only have a couple days left. That's today and tomorrow. Today is Saturday. I came in here on my day off so I could do this video for you, mostly so I could do my review of the X-Men 97 TV show, which will probably come out tomorrow if I can edit it. But if you want to win this book, go head over to collectorscomics.com. It's my website, auction house, sell comic books, marketplace, all that kind of stuff. Link is always in every description of every video. Head over there. All you have to do is click the enter button to enter. If you don't have an account, you obviously have to sign up. And we'll ship it to you and whoever you want. Also, right now we have an auction going on. The first day is already over. Right now we're on day 1 and 2. Day 2 and 3. And they're ending literally right now as I speak. So probably if you watch this video, the second day might have been done and we're on to the third day. So it's all this week, Friday through Sunday. Friday's obviously over, but yeah, tons of good stuff. Thank you for everyone that's already participated. We hit some really cool record prices on some stuff, which is awesome. Always love doing that, especially for consigners. And again, everyone that sends in stuff, all our consigners, is only 5%. So if you have anything you want to sell through us, 5%, that's all we take. We're by far the cheapest, not even close to anyone else. Everyone else is vastly more expensive than us. 5%, and we take care of everything. All you have to do is give it to us, and we will, list it, sell it, take care of emails, all that. Collect the money and give it to you. Done. So yeah, let's get in. It's at collectorscomics.com. Let's get in the video. All right, first is we got SpiderMan India, number 1. This is the first appearance of SpiderMan India. A 9.8 recently sold for 106. In January is averaging 139. That is down 24%. And then in all of 2023, it was averaging out 235. It's down 55% from that. And then it peaked at $1,000. Wow, $1,000, and that is down 89%. This book was pretty much a nothing book. I remember I bought a collection. Oh God, this was probably in maybe like 2014, 2015 or something like that. I got a bunch of books, and I got this book in there. I'm like, what is this book? I remember thinking, like, what is this? And this is obviously way before, was it Spider-Verse movie where Spider-Man India was in that. And it was a nothing book, and it sold for like a couple bucks. That's where it always was. It wasn't really anything special. It wasn't until the movie came out, and then the hype got real on this book, because this book came out in like 2003. And it never sold for anything. You can look at that graph and it pretty much was like worthless. And no one bought it. No one cared. And then all of a sudden people were like, oh, wow, it's Spider-Man India. So it shot up to $1,000. And then it just went way down. Kept dropping and dropping and dropping. Right now it's selling for 106. This book will it's still dropping. So this book to me is like a slightly above case cost book. Case cost is about $50. That's what it costs for you to send it to CGC, get graded, shipping, insurance, blah, 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 all that stuff. $50. So like a random modern book that just comes out or came out a few years ago or something like that, or a book that has no notoriety, no keyness, no nothing, in a 9.8, it's going to sit slightly under case cost to maybe you could get case cost. If you have it to buy it now, if you throw it in an auction, it'll probably go half a case cost. So that's kind of like where it's at. This one has some notoriety to it, but it's not that desirable. So it's going to be a slightly above a case cost book. So to me, this book will probably be anywhere from like $55 to about $75 when this is all done. And, the dropping has stopped, unless something else happens to it. But yeah, it's probably going to sit there. So at 106, it'll continue to drop for another $25 and probably just kind of sit around there. But one thing to note, even though it's worth whatever I say it's worth around there, some of these books are actually hard to sell at that price. So you might say like, oh, it's about a $75 book, but you might put it up for, $75 as a buy it now, and it'll sit there for like a year or two until someone comes and buys it. So it's not that desired, so it takes longer to sell. So if you want to get rid of it to sell it, you throw it in an auction and it might go for $30, $35. I'm not talking now, I'm talking when it settles down. So that's kind of what happens. Like this 106, that's a very odd number to sell for. So someone probably just threw it in an auction, and the last one probably sold for like 140 or something like that, and then sold for 100. And that's what's going to happen to these books is people will put them up for a price. It's not moving. They're like, fine, I just want to get rid of it, sell it, and take the loss. And so they'll have it up for $106 because that was the last one sold, but no one will buy it for that. And then all of a sudden they'll put it in auction and they'll sell for $80 in auction. And it's like, oh, it's dropping. So then the next person puts up their buy it now for $80 because I want to sell it. No one buys it. So then they put it in auction and sells for $50 or something. That's how it goes. All right, next we got Stray Dogs #1. A 9.8 recently sold for $54. In January, it was averaging about 66. That's down 18%. And all 2023 is averaging about 75, down 28%. And then at its peak, it peaked at back in 2021 for $610. That's down 91% from its peak. So Stray Dogs came out of the gate. To be honest, the only reason this book was as popular as was because it got optioned very early on. Back in 2021 when money was cheap and they were optioning everything. If you own a business, you could get literally like funding like that. You just had to have a pulse and a business plan and you're like, here's funding, here, $1 million, sure. How much is your company worth? Well, it's just an idea right now that I wrote on the back of a napkin and I was wondering if I could get funding. That sounds cool. I'm going to get you, I'm going to value your company at $10 million. I'm going to give you 10%, so I'm going to give you $1 million. That's literally what happened all the time. I have a couple people that are in that industry, and I literally asked my brother one time, I was like, should we get funding? And he's like, oh yeah, you should definitely do it, because his company was always getting funding. And I was like, well, what would you value our company at? He's like, I don't know, do $1 million is what you want at valuation of 10. And I'm like, where did you come up with that number? You don't even know our numbers. And he's like, it's trendy right now in the VC world, venture capitalist. And I'm like, it's trendy to just throw out numbers with no real backing behind it? He's like, yeah, that's kind of like what's popular right now. And lo and behold, I knew lots of people that got that deal at that same valuation and everything. That was like the number you put out. You didn't need even numbers. You don't even have to have it. You literally have an idea. And that was it. And that was enough to get funding. So dumb. So just like that, in the comic world, everything was getting an option. This movie's getting an option. This one, and they had all this money, all these studios, and we needed, and streaming was going up, so we need content. And so they're like, what? A comic book? It sold one copy? It's a hit. Here's an option for a movie. We better get on it now before someone else options it. So everything was getting optioned. So there's no different. Obviously, most of these movies never got made. Nothing happened to it. They just got optioned, which means that the owner of this book, or whoever wrote it, whoever owns the rights to it, got a check for probably $50,000 to $250,000, and they now gave the rights to some studio to write a script, shop it around, get directors, blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, this book is now selling for $54, which is, like I said earlier, around case cost. That is where this book will sit. As you can see, pretty much it's been flat for the last couple of years. I mean, in all of 2023, average $75, like slightly more. So it's slightly going, this is where it'll sit. It'll sit around this price for the rest of its life. All right, next we got Usagi Yojimbo, #1. This is not his first appearance. This is his first solo book. A 9.8 recently sold for $435. In January, it was averaging $678, down 35%. In all 2023, it was averaging $1075, down 60%. And then at its peak, it was all the way up to $2,800, down 85%. So this blew up because they had a Netflix show that was coming out. But lo and behold, the Netflix show comes out and has nothing to do with Usagi. It has to do with like his great-great-great-great-great-grandson or something like that. And it's in the future and literally came out, never heard one person mention it but after it came out. I don't know if anyone ever watched it. Have no idea. I never watched it. It's called the Usagi Chronicles, I think. I don't know. It was like a kid's show or something. Like it wasn't like a show for like teenagers or anything. It was like a little kids show, like a little kids show, like little bit above Paw Patrol or Barney or something like that. I don't know. I never watched it. No one even talked about it. No one on YouTube, nothing. I don't think anyone watched it. So this blew up because of that, and then all of a sudden the show comes out and people are like, or they get the first like trailer or something of it, and everyone's like, what is this? It's like this little kids. This is not what. Because the only people that would know Usagi Yojimbo came out in, I think this was 88, and Albedo #2 came out in, was it 86? Somewhere around there. I don't know. Somewhere around there, mid 80s. So everyone who would know him and collect him would be my age or a little older. So you're looking anywhere probably from 35 to 50. That would be your target demographic of someone who would be into this character to begin with. So why would you make a little kid show? I have no idea. Stupid. Stupid people. Bunch of stupids. Everyone's stupid. It's so dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. I don't know how these people at the top get their job at the top. Obviously, it's nepotism, right? Is that the correct word? Where basically your dad worked there, or your mom or something like that, and they just give you the job, and you have no qualifications, and you suck at your job. It makes no difference because they just make so much money over and over. It doesn't matter. I remember I had a friend who worked at this biochemistry, something, whatever, big company. And he would literally go in there, just go in his cubicle, put his headphones on, and like take a nap because he'd be hung over all the time. And I'm like, you don't do any work? He's like, no, I just put my headphones in, put my hoodie on, it's kind of like lay there, and no one bugs me. And I'm like, okay. So he never really did any work. And then they didn't care. They didn't care because they kept on making record profits. And then they had one bad quarter. And then they're like, we got to cut back. And he got fired or laid off or whatever you want to call it. Because they're like, oh, we got to cut back. But as long as they're making money, they could care less. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. That's how these companies operate. That's why it's like Elon can fire 75% of all Twitter and still operates just fine, because there's so much bloat in these companies, because money will start flowing and they're just like, we need to hire more people. We don't actually going to do more work, but they're like, if we have more people, we'll get more work done. Okay, what work do you want to actually get done? This is kind of a rant about business, I guess. It's like we need to get more work. We need to expand. Okay, how do we expand? Well, let's hire the people and then we'll expand. Well, we don't know what we want to expand into or what the idea is. Don't worry, let's just hire people and they'll do it. So you have a bunch of managers that manage a bunch of people that do nothing. And if you ever watch that show Silicon Valley, it's like so true. They just hire people and they sit there and do nothing. They do nothing. Do you ever see like probably 2020, 2021 when they're like these things were going on like on viral, or it's like a day in the life of a Facebook employee or a Twitter employee or something like that. And they would walk around, it's like, 9 a.m., show up at work, have breakfast, because they give you breakfast there, have breakfast with all my friends. And then, so you're at like this, the company breakfast area. And then it's like, okay, then we'll have a meeting at like 10 about a meeting that we're going to have later in the day. So they have a pre-meeting, okay? And then decide to go, then have a meeting about where we're going to have lunch. Then go have lunch. Then after lunch, take a walk around the park. And then have our meeting. And then after our meeting, decide to walk around to go get ice cream, because at these places, there's like campuses. And all this kind of stuff, and everyone's like, what work was actually done? There's another one going around viral. These two girls are project managers, and they're at home, working from home, in their pool, and with their laptops, and this drinking during like a Tuesday. And yeah, we're working right now, doing blah, blah, blah. And I think they ended up getting fired or something. I don't know. But they don't do anything. There's a lot of people that just don't do anything at all. They just hire them and they just exist there. So I don't know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, they all suck. All the executives and stuff like that, just making terrible decisions. I can see why. Anyways, this book probably be around the same. All right, next we got Conan number 23. First appearance of Red Sonja. In a 9.4, recently sold for $385. In January, it was averaging $495, down 22%. In all 2023, it was about 510, so not much more, down 25%. And then at its peak, it was 1346, down 71%. There was like some Red Sonja movie, TV show. I have no idea. I don't know. There's something going on. And so this got hyped up, and along with a lot of other books, and lo and behold, it didn't pan out. I think this book's going to drop a little more. So I would expect this book to be, I don't know, probably around the $300 mark. All right, last on the list is Fantastic Four Annual number 6, first appearance on Nihilus. A 6.0 recently sold for $165. In January, is averaging 180, is down 8%. In 2023, is averaging 272. That's down 39%. Its peak is selling for 710, down 77%. I mean, not every book in the history of comic books got propped up by comic boom stuff. A lot did. Mostly the main keys and first appearances and things like that. So I've recently seen even though this book is dropping, I've recently seen these books selling a little more. At least in my experience, I just sold 2 copies yesterday of this book, which is kind of odd because I don't sell that many copies. I don't even have that many copies, but just sold 2. I probably have like 4 or 5 copies total, and sold 2 of them yesterday. I think my first guess is there's probably people speculating that because I want to, the Annihilus will show up somewhere maybe in the Fantastic Four movie, or at least mentioned, and a possible thing. So or maybe it's Franklin Richards. Maybe it's because this is the first appearance of Franklin Richards too. So maybe it's something I think maybe it'll be I could see this book in the next 6 months being on like maybe a heating up list, for it kind of going up a little bit. That's what my guess. But it's actually selling for below what it was before the comic boom. At least in this one, in the 6.0, all the grades are dropping, just to let you know. I usually pick a grade that represents what's going on with the book. But yeah, so all the books are dropping for the most part. But from this particular one, it's below what it was selling for back before the comic boom. So I could easily see this going higher, or just naturally without any speculation or anything, because it's already kind of low, in my opinion. That is it. Check out the auction in this book. Have a great day.